In this tutorial, we'll be looking at how to use if statements inside Visual Basic. So the first thing you need to do is obviously launch Visual Basic, Visual Studio. From this point onwards, I'm not going to show you that process. Please refer to the first couple of tutorials on how to do so. So we should start off in this view here. What we're going to do today is we're going to create a simple form with a label and a text box asking what your age is, and then based on your age, having one or two responses. So the first thing you want to do is we're going to show you how to use labels. So everything in the common controls is where we can draw things to the screen. So we select label, then we'll draw a label in here. And then in here, I just want to change the contents. And in here, I want to change the contents of that text. So we're going to change that to age. And then what we're going to do there is we're then going to draw in a text box. So select text box here, and then draw a text box beside it. Okay, it doesn't have to be perfect. And then we're going to not just use the text here, but we're going to scroll all the way down to the design. Now, this is the internal name. This is really important that you change this for coding because it's considered good coding practices. So I like to basically name it after what it does. So this is going to help us calculate our age. So I'm going to call this calculate age text box. Okay, and then next up, we can resize that form a bit if you want to. Then we go to our button option. I'm just going to draw a button on here. Then we can change the contents of that button to submit. So remember, we do that through the properties window down the bottom here. Then we go to text and we just change button 1 to submit or something different. And then just to have a bit of instructions at the top here, we're going to say, how old are you inside this taskbar here? So you select the form, then go to form 1, and then change the text to how old are you? Question mark. And there we have our basic form, which we can change depending on how we like layout. So we're going to double click on the submit button. And I'm going to show you how to do an if statement. So we'll just delete this extra code. So what we do is we always start off an if statement with an if. And then if statements are based on criteria. So in this one here, I want to have a statement of what happens if you're over 18 years old versus if you're under 18 years old. So remember how we named our text box calculate age text box? So we're going to say the contents of calculate. So if the context of calculate, and you can see here it has it right away. So we want to call up this text box, what we enter into it, and then we want to say anything that's entered in there, we call it .text, is greater than 18, then we can then message box something out. So we're going to message box .show to the screen. And we'll just have a little bit of a jibe. So you're getting a bit old. And then the great thing about if statements is that they're based on 1 or 2 criteria. So we can have an else condition. So anything that is less than 18, so 1 to 17, we then can have the following message. So we might say, cool, you're still young or something. So just in summary, if statements are really important to test conditions. In this one here, we're just testing a simple condition of what contents have been entered text box. If the number's above 18, then it says you're getting a bit old. If it's under 17, 1 to 17, then obviously it's going to say this. Now, please keep in mind that if you enter text or anything else in it, it's going to be ignored. We look at this in future tutorials on how to deal with different types of text types inside a text box. So to run this, all we need to do is hit the start button or F5 and then put in, let's say, over the age of 20. So I've got so I'll put in the age over 18. So let's say 20. It says you're getting a bit old. And then let's put an age below the 18. So let's say 10. It says cool, you're still young. So yeah, so if statements are probably one of the most used control structures or sections of code you'll be using in Visual Basic. You can have an if statement without an else condition, so just test one condition, that's absolutely fine. And you can also have many different if statements used at the same time. And that's something we'll be looking at future tutorials. So I do recommend you play around the code, try to extend upon it. Otherwise, thank you for watching my tutorial.